Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the Franchising 360 show brought to you by Fran Coach. I am Tim Parmeter, and with me, as always, is Danielle Wright.
That's me.
The Franchising 360 show, on this thing, we're going to take a 360-degree look at the world of franchising. We're going to help get you properly educated on what it's all about, help you determine if you should be a franchise owner, and if so, help you find your best fit. Once you are a franchise owner, we're going to give you some of the top tips to help you succeed and even help you understand, if you have an existing business, what it is like to turn it into a franchise. That's us. We're going to do our best to do some of those things throughout this. And Danielle, guess what? We're in season 2.
I know. Do you think they really meant to give us a second season?
I think they just didn't realize it had an auto renew.
Oh, okay. There we go.
For once, that worked in our favor versus the other way around.
Fantastic.
So,
but I'm here, and you're here.
I'm here, and we are here actually in the BizTV studios.
I know. We've upgraded, so obviously they expected us to renew.
The world headquarters. So super cool, and we got a fancy logo behind us. It's amazing. So we're excited.
But let's get back to real stuff. What are we here to talk about?
Franchising.
Always.
What in particular should we chat about tonight?
I think because it's season 2, and I think because we're going into like the back half of the year, why don't we give our viewers something like what's been happening? What's the state of the union? Where are we going? Like, is now the right time for a franchise? I have 1,000 questions.
Oh, I have questions too. One of us should have answers.
Okay.
So, but there's so much to be thinking about. And again, just kind of coming back to Franchising 360 show, just understanding there's so many things going on in the world, and there probably always are, but we don't care about what happened in the past. We care about now and how it affects us.
Right. But there have been some great stuff going on for the first half of the year, right? I think franchising is really excelling in some data and some metrics, so those people that really like those numbers are going to have some of that for them today.
We definitely are, and again, we want to always address like the kind of the elephant in the room is the things that maybe we're a little afraid of or feel scary, frightening. We talk about
words that we don't like using,
and or the word that I can never really say, myth.
Here we go with the myths again.
Singular, I'm good. Myth, plural, not so much. Then we just throw in misconceptions. But
yeah,
we got a lot of that to talk about tonight.
Yeah. So when are we going to start doing that?
Well, it's Friday night.
Dun, dun, dun.
It is time for everyone's favorite segment of the show.
Which is?
Glad you asked. It is Friday's Franchise Fun Fact with Danielle.
That's me.
Sponsored by... Still
nobody.
No one. So
because it's not so much fun, I guess. We got to get some better facts. Maybe this one works. Are you ready?
I am excited for this fact.
You bolt it in.
Yes.
All right. So fast food franchise model.
Fast food franchise model.
What do you think of first?
McDonald's.
Wrong.
Well, that's what I thought of first,
yes,
but that's not wrong.
But that's wrong.
Okay.
So do you know where the first franchise model, who created the first franchise model for fast food?
Yes.
Who?
A&W.
Wrong. Howard Johnson.
But that's a hotel.
It started as an ice cream and restaurant, and then it grew to 400 locations. So he is the father of restaurant franchising. Boom.
And the way I really know that Howard Johnson started with ice cream has nothing to do with franchising. It has to do with a Mel Brooks movie from the 70s that's probably not shown a lot on television
Has
anymore.
Everybody just turned off the 360 show
and turned on that movie. Yeah. So Howard Johnson, do we know when that was?
1920s.
Ooh.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So orange roof ice creams, and then people ate so much ice cream they passed out, so then they needed a nap from the sugar rush.
Now,
then they started
you're going to a whole nother level with the franchise fun fact. The fact is that McDonald's didn't start fast food franchising. The Hojo did.
But it's the one, I think, just across the board, you ask 100 people to name a franchise, probably all 100 of them are going to say McDonald's. If you give them more than a couple,
right.
They're not going to say
But why is
Howard
that?
Johnson.
Because they have thousands of locations.
Right.
But when you think about the Hojo model, it was 400. So 400, thousands, notoriety. And we're talking like the 1920s, friend. Like, that was a long time ago.
That's so long ago, even I wasn't around.
That is shocking.
I know, barely.
But good fact, right?
Excellent.
High five.
Excellent fact on that. Now we got to get to the real facts and the fun.
Of today.
When we come back, let's talk and really dive into some facts about franchising today, not from the 1920s.
Darn.
To kind of understand where
Decade.
is this going, right, compared to everything else we hear in the world, in the economy, all of those things. So what do you say we do that when we come back?
I'm here for it.
Okay, awesome. We will be right back here on the Franchising 360 show, dropping some facts on franchising in 2025. We'll do that when we come back. Hey, we are back on the Franchising 360 show. Tim Parmeter with Danielle Wright, and we are State of the Union in it of franchising tonight.
Get it straight.
Yeah, this only franchising
There's
is
no other State of the Union we will be giving you this evening. It will not be an hour and a half long of listening to Tim Parmeter talk.
Thank goodness.
Yes.
So no, but from a franchising perspective, so franchising is this thing that's like almost impervious to whatever else is going on, right? And so there's a lot of talk, right, wrong, good, bad, whatever. Maybe the economy not as robust as one might
Jobs,
think.
things. I think you spend a lot of time talking to people that are in a career or in a job or in a search or what have you. I generally talk to people that are looking at franchise brands after they've talked to someone like you, and we get a lot of questions in and around like the economy and tariffs and taxes and, hey, what does the rate change look like? We just get a lot of, hey, here's the state of the U.S. economy. How is that impacting a franchise business or business ownership and all of those things? So I think it's important for us to tell the viewers, like, this is independently owned and operated businesses by budding entrepreneurs. Franchising is a vehicle that gives you a business in a box to be able to do that. But to your point, a lot of times what you're hearing out in the world doesn't always necessarily equate to what's going on. We're a bubble, right? Like we're in this little protective bubble.
It is crazy. It's kind of like whatever, you've been in this industry for 15 years, I'm 11-ish, somewhere in there. And no matter what's going on, whether it's, you know, economy's good, economy's bad, there's a pandemic,
job market,
there's this, there's that. Franchising is like whatever. They just kind of keeps trucking along to the point of let's talk about some of the numbers so far this year in franchising. There are,
and they're put out by, so that people just don't think we're pulling this off of a ChatGPT space. There's the International Franchise Association. That is our governing lobbying board in Washington, D.C. They push for entrepreneurial rights and tax advantages and everything for small business to benefit. Then there's a group called FranData that analyzes every ounce of data possible in small business entrepreneurship and
from a third-party perspective, not trying to be promoting.
So this has come from resources that we use in the franchising world.
We're actually fact-checked here, you might say.
Potentially, but that's if they're watching the show.
But there's somewhere over, so far this year, over 20,000 new franchise units, locations, territories, whatever. Open up and operating, and
that's this year, January through September. So we're talking the first three quarters of the year.
And we're at the country overall, well over almost 850,000 franchise locations around the country, which just keeps, like, again, it just keeps on ticking. Which, and then we've seen this from an employment data. Somewhere around 9 million people are employed within franchises. And then the revenue number is mind-boggling.
So the total franchise output, sales of goods and services, is projected by the end of the year to be $936 billion.
With billion with a B.
So technically, it's up 4.4% from 2024. So I can tell you from the franchise development side, we were very optimistic in the growth of 2025. We've planned a lot. We were looking for extra units in different franchise brands. There was a heightened excitement in and around the new administration and what that was going to mean for business ownership. So it's definitely, you may hear some other things that may not necessarily say, hey, this is the world at large, but on the franchising side, this is our Super Bowl. We're doing really well from a growth perspective. Like you said, steady Eddie, like we're going down that path. So.
In your 15 years, have you seen a year where it's been like, oh my gosh, that was a horrible year and everything went downwards for franchising?
No, it just shifts differently, right?
Yeah.
So right now, the businesses that seem to be the hot thing to have are like personal services, anything that's really health, wellness, beauty, something that reflects on you personally.
Right.
Some things I think we're going to talk about in the next couple of segments in and around tariffs and taxes and things might be pushing some of these to be a little bit more expensive. So they may shift.
Right.
So in those 20,000 units, we don't really know where those were, right? Like they could be food, they could be beverage, which is, again, another hot thing, a hot trend right now. But personal services tend to be where that growth is going. And I haven't seen a downfall in my, even in the pandemic year.
Right.
We had our best awarding years because people were at home, they were looking for, a side hustle of some sort, or they didn't really want to have to go back to an office.
Right.
Even today, it's 2025. I have friends that don't want to go take a real job, like a job, because they don't want to have to go to an office. So there's opportunity out there for anyone wherever they are.
Yeah. It is crazy no matter what goes on. And even in the job market, whether people are getting laid off or not, maybe it's more people coming into franchising to own it full-time instead of the job.
Right.
If they've got a job that they don't despise, maybe they're going to have
Even with the economy, right? Like you're not really sure if you're keeping your job. You're hearing layoffs, poor job market, blah, 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 blah. Now's the time to kind of start that research because you're not going to make a decision overnight.
Correct.
Like let's lay this out. I'm not going to talk to you today and own a franchise tomorrow.
No, absolutely not.
And if you did, I'm not sure that I would be on board for that.
Right. We would all be saying, whoa.
Don't do that.
Pump your brakes a little bit. So some of the things that can cause a little trepidation, I guess, tariffs, taxes, layoffs, job market. Let's dive a little bit more into, we talked about the great stats so far of this year. Let's talk about some of the things that maybe don't feel as great.
I think those are the buzzwords of the year, so let's talk about them.
Indeed. We're going to do that and more here on the Franchising 360 show when we return. Hey everyone, we are back on the Franchising 360 show, giving you a little State of the Union here. It's in Parmeter with Danielle Wright, and we talked in the last segment about some pretty impressive and growing stats in the franchising industry, but there's I know, like, fears, kind of like we don't like those words.
We don't like them, but they're words that people use.
They're words, and for us at Fran Coach, we're working with all the people thinking about doing this, and the one word that comes up all the time is concern, right? And so for us, when somebody has, my concern is X.
Great. That's a conversation. Concern equals conversation.
It is is that a deal breaker concern or is that more information concern? And at the beginning, it's always more info. So like think of tariffs and taxes and some of the layoffs. Where are you seeing that come into the kind of the franchise conversation so far?
Not speaking for every franchise on the planet, right? But I think some of the things we're seeing from a trend perspective for 2025, those are words that were used really early on in the first quarter, right?
Yeah.
And it sparked a little bit of fear. And so those that were looking at franchise businesses were questioning a lot of those things. I think some of the tariff stuff is calmed itself. We're moving into different worlds of heightened awareness, but tariffs seem to be boiling down off the top 10 radar, right? But there are ones that are going into effect. So some things to think about if you're looking at a franchise or considering a business in general. There's a wood tariff that's getting ready to roll out. That's going to make the expense of anything that uses wood. And not a Taylor Swift reference either, by the way. Just close your eyes and keep rolling.
Okay, anyway.
And so then there is a truck tariff. So anything that's going to be like logistics, needing a vehicle of some sort, if they're coming from overseas, which is generally where they're coming from, there is a tariff starting, I think, November 1st with that. So if you're got to order new trucks, guys, like get them now, like stock it up. But a lot of times the franchisor, so that we can kind of squash this, they go in and mass buy. Or they create a relationship with a third party that is mass buying before these things take effect so that you don't get hit with that. But what is it that you always say when those things occur?
I don't know. What do I say?
You really don't know what you say? It means I listen to you way more than you listen to me, apparently. You say you're just going to charge more.
Well, true, right?
See? How is this now? Really? Come on.
But I'm also thinking that we had somebody a couple months ago was all worried about a tariff with a particular country because they thought that's where the product for that
Came
franchise
from.
came from.
Right.
Right.
And you're talking food.
Freaked
right?
them, yes,
So-
completely freaked them out about all of this. And and what the franchisor said, that's not where we get it from.
Right.
And so.
And I know a franchise that gets their avocados from Mexico.
Right.
No, we're not paid for that. But they had the same
But we
thing.
could
And
be.
years ago, there was a drought on some of the avocado farms, so
Right.
avocados became more expensive. Do you remember this situation with beef? Handful of years ago when I was at Checkers and Rallies,
Yeah.
like the cost of beef went through the roof. And what is it that we had to do? We had to change our prices on the menu boards
It's always
to accommodate.
It's just there's always, if you are going to be a business owner, and it is not for the faint of heart.
No.
There's always going to be a thing.
Right.
Right. And I think it comes down to like how much control do you want over those things, or none of those are like industry killers. They're just little things along the way that you have to be able to kind of solve for, but with also the help of the franchisor.
Right, but that's what we're supposed to be doing here at the 360 show.
Right.
Like educating you to it's a figure it out. If
Right.
you can't figure it out, the brand's going to figure it out. And if it's a large thing like a tariff, the franchisor is there to be with you. Like
Right.
it's cheesy, but it's something that we all say is like you're in business for yourself,
But not
by yourself. So you're not running John's Bagel Shop over here. You're Brugger's Bagels, and Brugger's is telling you this is how you do this, and this is how we account for that. And we've already thought of that 6 months before it even
Correct.
came to you, and this is how we solve.
Yeah.
The only thing that really threw franchising for a loop was a pandemic.
Right.
That we all had to solve on our feet at the time, and those that survived, fantastic. Those that didn't, it's really sad. But I don't know that there was a way that you would have ever prepared for that.
For that, right? And again, those aren't things that are going to happen every single month,
Correct.
right? Along the way, but it's still that ability to kind of figure that out. We had the client during all that stuff had started a franchise called Corporate Caterers.
Yes.
In late 19, rolling into the pandemic, and you're like, oh my gosh, the entire business is based on
Corporate
catering
catering.
to corporations
That were no
corporation-
longer in offices.
They weren't there, and the pivot was all the different kind of organizations that were like feeding shelters, homeless, VA, whatever.
Right.
They
Hospitals,
they
first
started
responders.
catering to
Yes.
those people. So again, it's the ability to good old figure it out.
And at that juncture, the franchisor wasn't going to tell you no. Like,
Right.
because let's all be crystal. They don't make money unless
Right, you as a franchise owner make money, which is why it should be that partnership. So some of the other things that, real quick before I have to go to break, is there are always, as we get towards the end of the year,
Yeah.
I literally had an email this morning from my CPA on something for taxes. I'm getting to it, Jen, I'm a little busy. So those type of things, and as an employee versus being that business owner, there's some big differences there that really can benefit people.
And you just recently had a podcast, the Franchising 101 podcast. Go out, listen to it. It's on all channels with a financial advisor
Right.
talking about some of those things. It's hard for us to talk about taxes, right?
Yeah.
But let's talk interest rates. There's an impact for businesses in that. It's a positive piece, just like it is trying to stimulate people buying homes. It's also
Right.
going to stimulate growth in the business sector. But from a tax perspective, you want those things, and it's hard for us to talk about it. Maybe we talk about it how it applies to us
Right.
and our businesses, because we are independent business owners. We have owned franchises, so we know how all of that works. If you want any other advice, call a CPA. They will tell
Right.
you all of the things. But there are a lot of benefits when you think the economy is bad, or you're hearing that the economy
hearing
is
it's
bad. There are things that you go talk to those that live in this world, in the CPA sector specifically, and they'll tell you what business ownership is good and where you might need to watch for some landmines.
Yes, indeed. And so when we come back, we'll also kind of remind everybody of some of the reasons why people, with all the crazy in the world,
Yeah.
why they might want to become a franchise owner. We're going to do that here on the Franchising 360 show when we come back. Hey, we are back on the Franchising 360 show. Tim Parmeter with Danielle Wright. And Danielle, we've been talking about some,
No, and I'm like all excited about it. Does this seem bad about me?
It's
Like,
October, so we can talk about scary things now.
oh, okay,
right?
we're gonna go boo.
Right, with that, but the positives of the growth in the industry of franchising as a whole.
Yes.
And that it just kind of it's the little engine that it just keeps on going. Even though there are some things out there in the economy and the world that can be scary.
Yeah.
Right, with this. So why in the world, with all of those things, would somebody want to become a franchise owner?
Well, I can't speak for everybody. I mean, we've owned franchises. We've sold those franchises. Right. Blessed be. We've talked about owning other franchises. Why would we own more franchises?
Well, I think our thing is a little bit different at that point.
But that's okay. Maybe some viewers are similar.
But it's still, for us, it's another line of revenue, right?
Yes.
And income, right? More wealth, more equity to build.
Building long-term potential for our children.
Right. The one word that comes up with every single person that ends up owning a franchise.
Every time. Blanket
every
statement.
Single time.
And they don't realize that they're saying it.
And most of the time they actually say it. But other times that they dance around it, it's the word, it's control. They want more control, freedom, flexibility. If I'm going to work...
What does that mean? Like freedom, flexibility. If you say that, but what does that mean to someone if I say control of freedom and flexibility?
Like I'll hear things like, well, I want to, take my kid to soccer practice, or I want to be able to do this or that. I don't want to have to go to an office every single day.
Right. I want to be able to go to a doctor appointment when they're running an hour behind. I'm not freaking out that I'm missing something.
Correct. If I'm going to work my tail off, I want to do it for me versus somebody else.
Can I challenge for a second? I know we don't have a lot of time because
Yes.
we get really excited about all of these things, but what about the person that's, yes, I want all of that, but I like the sense of, hey, I have insurance and stability and a paycheck and the paycheck and the paycheck and the paycheck and the paycheck.
It just keeps coming every 2 weeks. I don't like the job.
Just keeps coming in the bank account.
Or anything about the job, but I like the fact that I get paid every 2 weeks.
Right.
Well, that sounds like a whole nother episode, Danielle.
But that also sounds like a word of control that you don't have.
Well, but you have control over how much you can make with it.
Okay.
And nobody's like, you can't work hard and go into your boss and go like double my pay. I mean, you can, but...
But back to the State of the Union, right? A lot of people that are potentially watching this are in that space of, I don't really have control over either one of those things right now.
Right.
Like we're hearing layoffs after layoffs after layoffs, and hey, we've reduced interest rates, but we're not spawning anything new. Housing market's not great. Value of homes is going down. All of those things. So you're now in a spiral of no control.
Correct. What can I control is my effort towards my business equals my version of success.
So out of all the trends that we've talked about and all the things that we've brought in today on the about 2025, what is something that someone can take away that says, here's where I'm not going to let the fear sink in?
Yeah, I think it is an industry franchising that just keeps trucking along no matter what, with all sorts of opportunities out there to be able to take advantage of it and do something for yourself.
So you have more control.
Have more control.
There you go.
That is the State of the Union. We're going to get more into some of the things we talk about, that whole paycheck thing down the road. You want to learn more about franchising, check us out, francoach.net, whether you want to become one or you want to take your business and turn it into one. Our YouTube channel, Frank Coach For You, podcast Danielle mentioned earlier, Franchising 101, and we even have a book called Becoming a Franchise Owner. Wonder what that's about.
I don't know. Go find it on Amazon.
But until next week when we come back and talk to you more about franchising, that is Danielle Wright.
That's me.
I am Tim Parmeter. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.